So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, and its introduction 3. That means third day on our introduction. And now we're going to start our reading of the introduction by Srila Prabhupada. Before that, we're going to chant Mangalacharan. Yatra Gita Vicharascha Pathanam Pathanam Tatha Modate Tatra Sri Krishna Bhagavan Radhaya Saha. So we just chanted the Mangalacharan, and I hope that devotees can learn to chant this along with the remembrance of the meaning of the shlokas we have discussed in introduction part 1 and introduction part 2. Then it will not simply remain a mechanical thing to do. Okay, this is first point. And second, suppose something is of very high value, then we will not consider if others are able to take it or not, if others are present to take it or not. Is it clear? We will be taking on our own initiative that if that thing is good, just like suppose, like it is being preached that Ashgard juice is very good. I'm not preaching about it, I'm just giving an example. Then even if nobody takes it, I take it. Are we able to follow this? If I feel a need for taking that thing. So now this is very interesting. Why I'm saying this? When we talk about Krishna, just like we quoted, Yatra Gita Vicharascha, wherever or whenever there is a discussion on Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Gita Vicharascha Pathanam Pathanam Tatha. A person is reading or he is helping others to read. Yatra Gita Vicharascha Pathanam Pathanam Tatha Modate Tatra Sri Krishna. Krishna is present there in a very happy mood along with Radhaya Saha Srimati Radharani. So seeking as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that don't try to see Krishna, work in a way so that Krishna wants to see you. So it's very clear. Whenever we are reading about Krishna or hearing Krishna, especially Bhagavad Gita, Krishna becomes extremely happy with such a devotee. And Prabhupada puts it very nicely. He says, why Krishna becomes happy? Because Krishna sees nobody is reading Bhagavad Gita in this world. Oh, my devotee is reading Bhagavad Gita. So he becomes very happy. But even if you'll accept it, even if we know this, alone it is somehow that so difficult to read. And you will see how it becomes so easy to read Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees. That's why I just mentioned Vancha Kalpataru Bhascha. I had a desire to speak on Bhagavad Gita in English, but I am seeing the devotees who are so ocean of mercy, who are in front of me, and they are giving me a donation of their most valuable thing, which is called time. You know that time is most valuable, and helping me so that I can speak something on Bhagavad Gita, which gives profound joy to Krishna, Srimati Radharani, Giriraj, Shaligram, who are in front of me right now, are Panch Tattva. And by pleasing them, we become pleased. So let's start. Introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gitopanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. Now, this you should understand very nicely. You will see there are many shlokas of Upanishads which exactly resemble the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion of Veda is called Vedanta. Ant of Veda, that means end of Veda. And the topics of Vedanta Sutra is Ishwar, that means Lord, Jiva means the living entity, Kal means time, Prakriti means the material nature, and Karma. And it is interesting that the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita are also the same. There is no sixth topic of Bhagavad Gita. Got it? So you understand the essence of Vedanta is explained in Bhagavad Gita. There is nothing beyond Bhagavad Gita which has been explained in Vedas. Before we understand this, one more concept has to be understood. What does Veda teach? Vedas teach only 3 concepts: Sambandh, Abhidheya, and Prayojan. There is nothing else in Vedas. If a person does not understand these 3 concepts, he has not understood Vedas. What is the meaning of Sambandh Gyan? Sambandh means what is the relationship of the living entity with Lord Shri Krishna? Very simple. Then Avideya means what is the process to revive that relationship. And Prayojan means goal. What is the goal of reviving that relationship? Is it clear? And you will see in Bhagavad Gita, this has been explained. This has been explained only. Sambandh, Abhideya and Prayojan, and which you can categorize as the knowledge about Lord, knowledge about living entity, material nature, time and karma. I hope this is very clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask to chat. So the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopal Nandana Partho Vassa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gita Mritam Mahat. This will come later in this introduction, that all the Upanishads are like a cow. And Krishna is like a cowherd man, cowherd boy, and Arjuna is like a calf. So the essence of all the Upanishad is told by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So what does it mean? It means that if we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we don't have to read all other Vedic literatures. Just like I tell you a very simple example. Do you like fruit juice? Some of you? Yeah. Varun Prabhu really likes fruit juice. Okay. So my question is to Varun Prabhu. Suppose if you are drinking apple juice. You like apple juice? I don't know. Okay. So as soon as you get juice of apple, do you ever think about eating apples? Or searching for apples? Got it? Got it? You want everyone has understood this point. Now once you have got the essence of all Upanishads, why will you search for Upanishads? Got it? So we are getting the essence of all Upanishads in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So we don't have to read any other literature. And that will be explained later on. Kimanye Shastra Vistare Yah Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukham Padmat Vinisrita. What is the need of any other literature when Bhagavad Gita is there? Is it clear? Because it is directly emanating from the mouth of Lord Shri Krishna. One interesting point, one more interesting point. This is very interesting. The Purana and Mahabharata are explanations of Vedas. And Upanishads also talk about the knowledge of Vedas. Now, Bhagavad Gita is in Mahabharata, which is called Pancham Ved. But it is also called Upanishad. So it is Shruti and Smriti. Shruti is original Vedas, and which are directly emanating from the Lord, and Smriti means any literature which is in pursuance of Shruti. Clear? So Upanishad is called Shruti. But very interesting point is that although Bhagavad Gita is in Mahabharata, so it should be Smriti, but it is also Shruti called Gita Upanishad because it is directly emanating from Lord Krishna. I hope you are able to follow what I am trying to say. Very interesting point. So it is as authoritative as Vedas. Okay, so now we'll go forward. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. But as far as I have seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinion without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now mark this word, almost. You see, when Prabhupada is saying almost, means there are some commentaries which do explain the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Is it clear? Prabhupada will further say that the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita has to be understood in parampara. So it's not that Srila Prabhupada only has presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. But Prabhupada is saying most of the commentaries are not authoritative. That means the commentary of Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan, which Srila Prabhupada has followed, is as it is. Is it okay? The commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami is as it is. The commentary of Sripad Ramanujacharya ji is as it is. Madhavacharya is as it is, because they are devotees. Now, what is the meaning of as it is? And Prabhupada, following in their footsteps, is also presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is. The beauty of Srila Prabhupada is that what the acharyas wanted to speak, he explains it in such a lucid language that even a layman can understand. This is brilliance. You know, a very nice statement by Einstein that if you really know a subject well, then the real test is that you can explain it even to an 8-year-old child. And this is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada, that the most profound truths of the Acharya commentaries, he explains in such a lucid way that even a common man can understand. So when Prabhupada is saying almost, it means he is not saying there is no commentary which is bona fide, but almost all the people are not touching the commentaries of the previous bona fide acharyas, and they are commenting on their own. Just like in the sense that they may have some knowledge of Sanskrit, and by that they were trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, which will not work. Is it okay? What is the meaning of touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is? You see, in Sanskrit, there is a word called viveksha. Viveksha means the intention to speak something. So when Lord Krishna is speaking something in his shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, there is an intention with which the Lord is speaking something. Now try to understand, as we hear from Bhagavad Gita, bhaktya mam abhitah janati. Abhita means nicely. By bhakti only a person can understand Krishna. So similarly, understand Krishna means understanding his words also. Do you agree? Just like now I am speaking. So if you are able to understand my words, you are able to understand me. Is it sinking in? Yes. So now if you understand me, it means you understand my words. So what does Lord Krishna speaks? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. By bhakti I am understood. So now you can also hear like this. By bhakti my words are understood. Is it okay? That means if a person is not a devotee, he can't understand the words of Krishna. And this will be explained in the 4th chapter by Lord Krishna himself. Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. O Arjuna, I am speaking this knowledge to you because you are my devotee. Clear? So the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is that one has to accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, become a humble servant of the Lord. Oh Lord, I don't know anything. Whatever you are speaking is correct. This is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. We do not give any mental speculatory interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. I think this should be very clear. Now somebody may ask, what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita which Prabhupada is referring to? Then he says, the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. This is very nice. That means if a person gives another explanation of Bhagavad Gita which is not in Bhagavad Gita, then his explanation is not clear. Just like very nicely Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita is so tight that unless you are a rascal, you can't interpret it. Just like, how do you see sun? The light to see the sun is in the sun itself. Do you agree? It's not that to see the light, to see the sun, you take your whatever tube light or something. That will be high grade of stupidity. We don't illuminate the sun illuminates itself. So the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita are very clear. But when we are not a devotee, or when a person is not a devotee, he won't accept them as it is. So it's very clear. Krishna says, I am God. We understand, yes, Krishna is saying God. Say we God. Simple. It's just very simple. Aham sarvasya prabhava. But if you are not a devotee, then a person will say, no, it is not to Krishna that we have to surrender, but to someone else. So it is same like showing a lamp in front of sun so that we can see the sun. This is high grade of stupidity, foolishness. So the Bhagavad Gita is very clear if we understand in parampara. Otherwise we can't understand. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. I was trying to explain to you itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the direction on the label or the directions given by a physician. This is very nice. We have a doctor in front of us, so you must have noticed that if some patients come to you, so the medicine is already there in the market, but the doctor tells how to take the medicines, and he gives a prescription, and the patient several times look at the prescription. How did the doctor told me to take the medicine? एक ही है ना? Do you agree with this? Have you ever approached a doctor? Many times you will see which medicine has to be taken at what time. Like normally allopathic medicines are taken after food, not before. But there are certain allopathic medicines which can be taken on empty stomach also. I think paracetamol. I'm not sure. Don't. I'm not a doctor. Please don't do it on my advice. But homeopathic medicines you can take empty stomach. One second. I have some medicines here. Well, let's see. Yes. Good. So you see, if you can see, let me see. It is shown here. Yes, half teaspoon empty stomach. Okay, and both the dabbas look same, but this one says half teaspoon after breakfast. Got it? They all both the medicines almost look same color, but 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 the effect is different and they are supposed to be taken differently. Got it? It's very simple. So now I cannot ask my friend, my dear friend, how I'm going to supposed to take this medicine. You never do that. We never even think of doing that. We ask a proper bona fide person, how am I going to take this medicine provided I want to be cured? If I will use a little strong word, if I want to fool around and don't want to be cured, then I can ask my friends and somebody else. But if I want to be cured, I will take the help of a proper doctor. Clear? Clear now? Take it next. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Shri Krishna, is not Mr. Shri Krishna. Prabhupada is using words very nicely. Mr. means a human being. He is not Mr. Shri Krishna. He says Lord Shri Krishna. Is my audio clear to everyone there, or is coming clear? Fine. So then there may be some internet issue at your end, Shekhar Prabhu. Please fix it. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna, not Mr. Sri Krishna. This is very good. It's not some human being who speaks, because some people have a very strange kind of appreciation of Bhagavad Gita. They say this scripture is so nice that we can't accept that it was spoken by one person. It must be spoken by 5 people. But they don't understand this. That this has been spoken by Lord Shri Krishna himself, who has unlimited intelligence. So you see, they are trying to limit the intelligence of Lord Shri Krishna to of a human being. But it's not like that. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Shri Krishna. That means Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, God himself, who is right now in your heart and my heart also. And we are conscious that we cannot speak anything which will not please him. This kind of consciousness is absolutely not available in a non-devotee's heart. He can't care less what Krishna feels by his lectures. Is it sinking in? A Krishna conscious devotee will speak something, only that thing which will please Lord, because he understands he is my master. He's right now in my heart. He won't be pleased by if I speak something nonsense which he does not want me to speak. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan. Of course, the word Bhagwan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here Bhagwan designates Lord Shri Krishna as a great personality. But at the same time, we should know that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas, spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbark Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself is also established himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam known as the Bhagavad Purana. Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. What does Srila Prabhupada want to explain here? See, Bhaga means opulences and Van means possessor of opulences. So, any person who has some opulences of fame, wealth, power, knowledge, renunciation, like that. There are six kinds of opulences. So that person will be called Bhagavan, possessor of opulences. Clear? Just like we can say Bhagwan Shiva, Bhagavan Narad, Bhagavan Brahma, because they have opulences. But we must understand that those opulences are bestowed upon them by Lord Krishna, who is Swayam Bhagwan. Please try to understand this. People have opulences, but their opulences are dependent on Lord Krishna. But Swayam Bhagwan means his opulences are not dependent on anyone else. Clear? Just like the opulence of light of sun comes from sun only. The light of sun does not depend on anyone else. So that you should understand from Swayam Bhagwan word of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also the understanding of Acharyas. See, when the point has come, I will explain here. Devotees also have faith. It's not that we know Krishna directly through our senses, which is not possible. Hear very carefully this point. So sometimes people say that you people have faith, you don't know anything. But that's wrong. That's wrong. In material life also we put faith. We have faith that we will live. We have faith that when we're going to use our bike or something to go to a certain place, there will not be any accident. Now the question is why do we and when do we put faith? We put faith when there is no other option. Just like when there was some World Trade Center or something like that, WTC bombing. So for some time there was no air travel. But then what do? You can't manage without air travel. Even just now we had COVID-19 and we were kind of locked in our room. Can we remain locked for whole life? No. So what is the option? We have to go out. Maybe still COVID is there or whatever, but then what can we do about it? So we put faith when there is no other options. Just like in the medicine field, I heard this, I may be wrong, but 40% of the medicines are fake. So you won't take any medicines? No, you will take. What is the option? Similarly, many times a person may have food poisoning because of wrong food. So you stop taking food? No, you still take. But the intelligent person will put a reasonable faith. So Prabhupada is explaining this, that we put faith on liberated acharyas like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, whose senses are not contaminated like ours. So putting faith on the acharyas, they say that Krishna is God. And also Srimad Bhagavatam, Shastra, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. The sadhus speak, the spiritual master speaks, and Shastra speaks that Krishna is God. So there is a very strong reason that to put faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, there is no way to understand who is Krishna or who is God. Clear? So we are not putting our faith in, it's not blind faith, it's reasonable faith. So we take a leap of faith that Bhagavad Gita is correct. And you must understand that this faith is coming because of a very strong piety in our previous lives. Otherwise, you try to preach to people who have, and even being Indians, they have no faith on Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So it is because of their their sinful background. In that case, you should give them prasadam so that they will get some piety and then one day they will become devotees. So check in your heart. You have faith in Bhagavad Gita. You are already a very advanced soul. Now work upon it to increase that faith. You are here in this class because you have faith that Bhagavad Gita is correct. And don't take it cheaply. We have paid the price for millions of lifetimes of accumulating piety, which has matured now, and because of that I have faith, or you have faith in Bhagavad Gita. That's why all of you devotees are very, very special, because you have faith in Bhagavad Gita. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Interest in Krishna consciousness is extremely rare. Extremely rare. So therefore we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is, directed by the personality of Godhead himself. Why? What is the meaning of therefore? Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one knows Krishna better than Krishna. So we must understand how Krishna wants us to understand. That's why Prabhupada says therefore. Next, in the 4th chapter of the Gita, 4.1-3, the Lord says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavahanam avyayam vivasmana manave praha manur ikshvakavi bravit. Bhagavad Gita 4.1. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakali neham mahata yogo nashtah parantapa स एवायम मया तेद्या योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यम ही तद उत्तमम्. Here the Lord informs Arjuna that this system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken to the sun god, and the sun god explained it to Manu, and Manu explained it to Ikshvaku, and in that way, by disciplic succession, one speaker after another, this yoga system has been coming down. But in the course of time, it has become lost. Consequently, the Lord has to speak it again, this time to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He tells Arjuna that he is relating this supreme secret to him because Arjuna is his devotee and his friend. The purport of this is that Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is specially meant for the devotee of the Lord. So just now, was I not explaining this point? That only when you are a devotee that you can understand Bhagavad Gita. So let's understand the shlokas. Imam, this. Vivasvate yogam. Imam yogam, this science of yoga or connecting our senses with the Lord, was proktavahan aham avyayam. This imperishable science, avyayam means imperishable science of yoga, was explained to me to Surya God. That means sun god, Vivaswan is sun god. Now first point you have to learn is that even sun god needs a teacher to learn Bhagavad Gita. Do you agree? Proktavan means I spoke. Because the teacher has more realization and understanding of Bhagavad Gita. So even sun god needs a teacher. Is it not interesting? Okay. And after, then second point is Vivaswan manave praha. Vivaswan spoke to Manu. So again Manu needs a teacher. A teacher who has been instructed by Lord Krishna. That means a teacher who is in parampara of Lord Krishna, not a whimsical teacher. It's not, and then second, it is once we get the responsibility of Bhagavad Gita, and if you get an interested person, even if it is one, you speak very nicely. Praha means very nicely. Are you able to understand this? Vivaswan manave praha. Lord Krishna spoke to Vivaswan, one person. Vivaswan spoke to Manave, Manu, one person. Because interest in Bhagavad Gita is extremely rare. So if you get one person, if he is interested, you preach to them. Knowledge is meant to be distributed. And Manur Ikshvakave Abravit. Again, Manu spoke to Ikshvaku. One person. So you see, such exalted people, they are giving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita just to one person. Because even at that time when it was not Kali Yuga, hardly anyone was interested in Bhagavad Gita. So why are you surprised that even 2 or 3 people are coming for Bhagavad Gita? In your class, 2 people are interested. And the shloka is in front of you. Evam parampara praptam. Eva means like this. In this way, parampara praptam, receiving in disciplic succession. Imam rajarshayo vidu. Those who were raja, that means king, as and rishis, that means sages, they understood this. Imam means this. Vidu means, and they understood this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So then Arjuna may ask, why are you telling me this then? Say, sa kale mahata yoga nashtha parantapa. O parantapa means just like you are destroyer of enemies. You are very expert in destroying the enemies. Similarly, O Arjuna, sa kale na iha mahata. Iha means, sa means that knowledge, and iha means in this world. Mahata kalena, by long passage of time, yoga nashta, this knowledge of yoga has been destroyed. You understand this point? Just like Arjuna is a destroyer of enemies, similarly, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was destroyed by time. Why? Because there was no proper propagator of Bhagavad Gita. This happens by passage of time. Certain things happen. one thing you should note, whatever you are receiving in Bhagavad Gita won't be destroyed by time. Is it okay? But the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita prevalent in the society becomes destroyed. Another point you have to understand, that the parampara of Rajarshis become destroyed by time. But the parampara of Brahmarshis, that means parampara of Brahma, of the Brahmanas, does not become destroyed. Are you able to follow this? There is a why. Now we should understand why. See, kings are producing kings, and there is a possibility of so much sense gratification for a king. So for understanding Bhagavad Gita, I need to control senses. That's why it's mentioned here Raj Rishi. But there is a possibility that there can be a king who won't be a Raj Rishi and who won't accept Bhagavad Gita, and from there onwards, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will be destroyed. But in the case of Brahmanas, in the case of just like Brahmaji, from Brahmaji to Naradji, then Naradji to Vyasadev, and Vyasadev to Shukdev Goswami, like this, and also Vyasadev to Madhvacharya. So they are self-controlled rishis, so their knowledge won't be disturbed by Kal. So I hope you are able to follow. We are receiving this knowledge not through a Rajarshi, but we are receiving the knowledge in Brahmarshi Parampara. This will be explained in the later part of this introduction. From Brahmaji to Naradji, from Naradji to Vyasadev to Madhvacharya, then from Madhvacharya then his disciples, and then Srila Madhavendra Puri, and then Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and like this. Ishwar Puri is like this. So you must understand that the parampara of Brahma Rishis is never destroyed. I hope this is very clear. But you see how much Lord is eager to establish the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita as it is, that Sa evam maya te adya. Sa, that same knowledge, eva, definitely that same knowledge, I am maya te adya. By me, the same knowledge is being given to you. Now this is very interesting. What is interesting? The Lord has unlimited intelligence, but He does not give a new knowledge. He gives the same knowledge. Sa eva I am. Yoga proktaha puratana. I am speaking. Proktaha means I am speaking to you this yoga, which is puratana, which is eternal. So something which is eternal does not need to be changed. So we must understand preaching is easy. Why? Because you don't have to change anything. You don't have to put anything new. If you have had experience in college time, you might have given some extempore, some speech, something. So it's very difficult because you have to speak something different. But if you have to repeat the same thing over and over again, what is the difficulty? Just like the doctors, they know it. When they get a patient, there is a medical procedure and they repeat the medicine. Okay, he has fever, paracetamol. He has fever, paracetamol. They don't change the prescription every time. Now it all may appear very simple, but you will see how many times when the speaker is speaking, he tends to speak something new, which is not to be done. The topic has to be explained as it is. Just like we say 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. It's not that the teacher teaches you something new. He might explain the same thing nicely, but he does not speak something new. Do you agree with this? That's how we learn English, mathematics, or Hindi grammar or anything. Simple. Simple as simple. Now again Arjuna may ask, why are you explaining to me? I am a family man. I am not a sannyasi. I am not a Vedantist. He says, Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Because you are my devotee. You are my friend. And that's why this supreme rahasya, this supreme knowledge or supreme, uttam means highest, supreme secret I am telling to you, which will raise a person from ignorance to light, the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So I hope you got this point. So the conclusion is, the way to accept Bhagavad Gita is in parampara. There is no question of emotional setup on this, emotional element on this. Is my spiritual master in parampara? Yes, then I'll accept. If he is not, then I don't accept. It's very simple. It is no question of so-called emotions in this. Okay, we'll go forward. So that's why Prabhupada says Bhagavad Gita is only for devotees. Prabhupada says elsewhere in his lectures that in a share market, you can't expect people to talk about Bhagavad Gita. They will only talk about shares. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita is a topic. So So try to understand who are the people who are talking. From there you can understand what is the subject of the conversation. So because Lord Krishna is speaking to his pure devotee Arjuna, so the topic will only be bhakti. Got it? Just like in share market, they will only talk about, they won't talk about vegetables, they won't talk about Bhagavad Gita, they will only talk about shares because they are share brokers, if I'm not wrong, that's how they speak. Is it not? Varun Prabhu, in your office, do they talk about vegetables? No, 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 no. Why? So, depending on the person who are talking, the subject can be ascertained. So, any person, now here carefully, any person who says that there is any topic except bhakti in Bhagavad Gita is wrong. Now, you may say there's karma yoga and jnana yoga. Those are explained just to bring the living entity to the path of bhakti. So, the purpose is bhakti yoga only. Got it? You should always remember, if ever we speak that there is some other topic in Bhagavad Gita except bhakti, we are absolutely wrong. Just like if you say, I went to a vegetable market, I will go to vegetable market at 12 o'clock today. I am planning to go and to discuss Bhagavad Gita. Won't you be surprised? Vegetable market. Whenever you go to vegetable market, you only want to inquire about vegetables. Agreed? It's okay, it's needed, but you can't discuss Bhagavad Gita there. Fine? So when Lord is talking to his pure devotee Arjuna, he's only talking about Bhakti Yoga. And that's why Prabhupada explains Bhakti, 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 Bhakti in all his purports, which is actually the sense of Bhagavad Gita. Now, there are three classes of transcendentalists, namely the Jnani, the Yogi and the Bhakta, or the impersonalist, the meditator and the devotee. Here the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, disciplic succession, because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun god to others, and it was his wish that his teaching be distributed anew by Arjuna. He wanted Arjuna to become the authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna, especially because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna and his intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has qualities similar to Arjuna. What are the qualities? Very easy to understand. A devotee of Krishna who has faith that Krishna is my eternal master. Hear very carefully. There are some people who will be seen to worship Krishna, but in their heart they have an aspiration to become Krishna. To such persons are not the authority to understand Bhagavad Gita. Even if they quote Bhagavad Gita, they have this aspiration to become God. This is called time pass devotional service. I am serving you, but one day I want to take your seat and become you. I'll explain this point. I've explained it several times, but I explain it again. One time, Giriraj Maharaj, at that time, he was not a devotee. Not a devotee means he was not initiated or anything. He was a student, and he approached Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, Maharaj explains that he was an impersonalist, in the sense he was infected by impersonalist ideas that we can become God. He was basically innocent, but he was told that we can become God by sadhana. So then he asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, will God help me in the path of self-realization? So Prabhupada said, depends on what is your goal. If you want to become a servant of God, then Lord also wants that, because that is our real position. So Lord will give you all the help. Lord will give you all the help because he wants to see that you become situated in his seva, service. But if you want to become God, then why should God encourage competition? So always understand a simple point. We can never become God. We are his servants and we have to just start serving him, and then we immediately become liberated. But as soon as we try to become God, that is our path of conditioned life. So Arjuna never wanted to become God. He wants to become a sincere servant of Krishna, sincere servant of God. It's just so simple. Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is so simple that you might miss it. So simple. Krishna consciousness means to please Krishna, so that we can have more attitude of pleasing Krishna. It's very simple. So I give an example. You must have heard that how in some traditions there were some ministers who would serve the king very nicely, but as soon as he gets an opportunity, he kills the king and becomes the king. You must have read the Indian history, it has happened several times. So this is not real bhakti towards king. Because as soon as there is an opportunity, they will kill the king and they'll become the king. This is called treachery. So treachery, you understand? Doka. So now Krishna knows everyone's heart. So if I want to become a sincere servant of the Lord will send all the help. And just imagine how much help Lord can give. Unlimited. But as soon as my aspiration is to become God, finish. Lord will not help at all. So I hope you understand. I hope you understood how it has to be understood. The conclusion is we should understand in parampara, and that parampara must start from Krishna. Otherwise, that parampara is not a parampara, because the spiritual master can't start his own parampara. The parampara or the disciplic succession has to start from Krishna. And also we learned that this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita has to be also propagated in the mood of disciplic succession only. That means we should repeat the words which has been spoken by the previous spiritual master. And last point I would say, we should be enthusiastic to, even if, one interesting point, even if we can't preach Bhagavad Gita, let us at least accept Bhagavad Gita as it is. At least in the beginning. At least our lives will become successful, even if we can't preach. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you so much for giving your time. I think this is finished. Yes, this is finished here. We'll continue our introduction tomorrow or whenever the classes will happen.